Thank you, Bill. There's just something so mesmerizing about that instrument. We look forward to hearing your other piece a little later in the service. Joy Harjo from the Creek Nation wrote a poem called Remember. In that poem, she says, quote, "Remember, you are all people, and all people are you," end quote. Today, on the International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples, we remember that we are not separate from one another, from the land, or from the generations who came before us. May we enter this time together with open hearts, attentive minds, and a willingness to truly see one another. Come, let us worship together. Jennifer Bachmeister will be reading our story today for our Time for All Ages, and I believe it's about a spider. How intriguing, Jennifer.
Good morning. This is one of my favorite stories. My son actually brought it home from the Read Aloud Club in 1996, and just so you know how long I've had this book, I now have a 12-year-old grandson. This book's been in my house for a while, and I love an origin story. So this is Anansi the Spider, a tale from the Ashanti, adapted and illustrated by Gerald McDermott. This story is from a long-established culture, the Ashanti of West Africa, in the country of Ghana, which is right there on the map. Ghana is a stronghold of dense rainforests between the ocean and the desert. This home of the Ashanti people protects their oral traditions. They have had a highly organized society for over 400 years. Anansi is a folk hero to the Ashanti. This funny fellow is a rogue, a wise and lovable trickster. He is a shrewd and cunning figure who triumphs over large foes. He is an animal with human qualities. Anansi is a mischief maker, and he tumbles into many troubles. Here is one of his adventures. Anansi. He is spider to the Ashanti people. Time was, Anansi had 6 sons. First son was called See Trouble. He had the gift of seeing trouble a long way off. Second son was Road Builder. Thirsty son was River Drinker. Next son was Game Skinner. Another son was Stone Thrower. And last of sons was Cushion. He was very soft. All were good sons of Anansi. One time, Anansi went a long way from home, far from home. He got lost. He fell into trouble. This picture shows Anansi falling into the river. And this picture shows a big fish swallowing Anansi. Back home was son See Trouble. Father is in danger, he cried. He knew it quickly, and he told those other sons. Road Builder's son said, "Follow me." Off he went, making a road. They went fast, those 6 brothers, gone to help Anansi. Where is father now? We have another picture of a fish. Fish has swallowed him. Anansi is inside fish. River Drinker took a big drink. No more river. Then Game Skinner helped Father Anansi. He split open fish. More trouble came right then. It was Falcon. Falcon took Anansi up into the sky. Quick now, Stone Thrower. The stone hit Falcon, and Anansi fell through the sky. Now Cushion ran to help Father. Very soft, Anansi came down. They were very happy, that spider family. All home again that night, Kwaku Anansi found a thing in the forest. What is this? A great globe of light? Oh, mysterious and beautiful. I shall give this to my son, said Anansi, to the son who rescued me. But which son of 6? Which deserves the prize? Naomi, can you help me? Oh, Naomi, called Anansi. For Ashanti people, Naomi is the god of all things. Anansi asked this of Naomi. Please hold the beautiful light until I know which son should have it for his own. And so they tried to decide which son deserved the prize. They tried, but they could not decide. They argued all night. Naomi saw this. The God of all things, he took the beautiful white light up into the sky. He keeps it there for all to see. It is still there. It will always be there. It is there tonight.
I've asked Cindy Damon to light our chalice this morning. As we do, may we pause, open our senses, and remember that beyond our own bubbles are countless human lives, each worthy of our attention, compassion, and love. These words by Lisa Doge invite us to consider what can happen when we kindle that awareness. What if sometimes it's not about a light in the darkness? What if sometimes it's about sparking potential into possibility and possibility into existence? What if sometimes the flame that burns in the chalice of our faith is nothing less than the ember of hope and nothing more than love set ablaze? What if sometimes all we need do is follow this flame, one among scores, hundreds, thousands of steadily flickering flames across the land and among so many peoples on the way to justice and into the land of peace? What if we dare to kindle that chalice? Thank you, Cindy. May we allow that flame to awaken in us the willingness to pause, to notice, and to truly see the people around us. May we open our hearts and senses to humanity beyond our own perspective. Perhaps the first step in truly seeing one another is simply to become more awake to what is around us and to the people whose paths cross our own. Let us awaken our senses together through song. I'd like to invite the song leaders up to lead us in our opening hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses, found in the gray hymnal or on the screen. If you are using the hymnal, please take note that this song has 5 verses to it, and we will be skipping the second verse. The words on the screen have already been adjusted. I invite you to stand in body or spirit. Today, we're reminded that our lives are shaped not only by our own experiences, but by the people we encounter along the way. Here at BBUUC, we strive to be a church for all. Whatever your identity, beliefs, questions, or path, you are welcome here just as you are. We believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person and in building a community grounded in love, equity, justice, and connection. I'm especially glad to welcome any guests or newcomers with us this morning. We're so glad you're here. If you'd like to learn more about BBUUC or Unitarian Universalism, please visit our welcome table near the entryway or talk to one of our members. And after the service, we invite everyone to stay for coffee, snacks, and conversation. Take a little time to linger, get to know someone new, and continue building the connections that bring us together. We are grateful you have chosen to be here, sharing this space and this moment with us. Each week, we recite our congregational covenant, a living promise of how we choose to be in community with one another. As we reflect today on truly seeing one another, our covenant reminds us that how we listen, respond, and care for each other is part of our spiritual practice. The covenant is printed in your order of service and on the screen. Please join me in speaking these words together in unison. We covenant to engage one another with honesty, kindness, and respect, to value diversity, seek understanding of our differences, and practice gracious accountability with care, love, and empathy. We make these promises to those who are here and those yet to come, so that we may be a safe, welcoming, and beloved community of acceptance, learning, and transformation. As we sing together, may we remember that we are part of something larger than ourselves, and that what we create together can be greater than what any one of us can create alone. Our call to worship words can be found in your order of service and on the screen. Please rise and body your spirit and join us in singing our call to worship. That was so nice. Thank you, Bill. Each Sunday, we take an offering as an expression of generosity and gratitude, recognizing that this community is sustained by what we give to one another. Giving is more than a transaction. It is one way we put our values into practice and help create the kind of community we want to share. We now receive today's offering in support of this religious community and its work in the world. You are invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. Giving envelopes may be found in the hymnals, and you may also use the QR code in your order of service or visit the donate link on our website at bbuuc.org. Whether or not you contribute financially today, we invite everyone to participate by passing the plate. A reminder that we all have something to offer and that we are part of this circle of giving and receiving. After the offering, please rise in body or spirit as we sing our offertory hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. I'd like to invite our ushers for this morning, Marilyn Jones and Judy Olevnik, to please come forward to receive the offering. The morning offering will be gratefully received.
Good morning. I'm Donna Zimmerman, and I am glad to be able to present this sermon today. This is a companion sermon to the one I presented last week. But don't worry, you didn't miss anything. I mean, other than you missed a good sermon last week if you weren't here. but the two sermons are connected by a common theme. Last week's sermon was about the messages that we give ourselves inside our own heads. And this sermon is about the messages we receive from others around us. So let's go on this journey. Every single day we navigate a world that feels increasingly crowded, yet profoundly disconnected. We hurry through grocery store aisles, rush past faceless strangers on sidewalks, and speed down highways, trapped inside the small, urgent bubbles of our own lives. We're consumed by our own schedules, our own anxieties, and sometimes our own sense of entitlement. Imagine for a moment a crowded Saturday in St. Augustine, where there's wall-to-wall people on St. George Street during their many wonderful festivals. Well, spirits are high, it's also hot, and there's starting to be a sense of impatience in the air. It's lunchtime, and folks are anxious to get seated at a cool restaurant and not have to wait outside. One man is walking along, looking at his phone, and he suddenly stops to snag an online reservation at the Columbia. Not unexpectedly, he's bumped from behind because he's the one that stopped. But instantly, a flash of white-hot anger surges through him. And as he spins around, he barks, "Hey, watch out. Watch where you're going. What are you, blind or something?" That's when he sees the man is holding a collapsible white cane with a red tip and wearing dark glasses. In an instant, the anger of the man who caused the bump evaporates. It's replaced by a sickening wave of profound shame. His chest tightens. His own careless, cruel words echo in his ears, now sounding as monstrous as they were. He didn't see the cane. He didn't see the glasses. He didn't even see the human being. More importantly, he ignored that he was the reason it happened in the first place. He only saw an inconvenience to himself, something that interfered with his trying to get his restaurant reservation. He assumed malice, or at least utter carelessness, where there was only another person trying to navigate a challenging world, made more so by his own rude actions. This moment of sudden, painful realization serves as a mirror for our entire society. It's a stark illustration of the spiritual vacuum we have all around us, a vacuum created by a pervasive, suffocating deficit of empathy. And since nature abhors a vacuum, the void is often filled with anger, rage, meanness, and vulgarity. Everywhere we look, public life feels fractured, mean-spirited, and deeply, deeply divided. Crassness and division have become our cultural default settings. We live in a society that increasingly encourages us to yell first and look later, if at all. We are conditioned to assume the worst about the people around us. Too many people treat life like a zero-sum game, where kindness is a weakness and contempt is a weapon that falsely makes them feel strong. As UUs, we're called to a different path. Our faith isn't built on rigid creeds or dogmatic certainty, but on our values and a covenant of relationship. However, please remember that covenant is aspirational. We have to work on it, and sometimes we lose sight of it. When we look at the state of the world, we must ask ourselves a profound spiritual question. How do we actively reject this culture of contempt? How can we try to heal the empathy deficit and work to rebuild a public square grounded in inherent worth, shared decency, and dignity? To understand how we have arrived at this spiritual crisis, we have to look honestly at the things that shape our daily lives. This empathy deficit isn't an accident. It's an industry. It's a tech architecture designed to keep us isolated, angry, and fearful. In our digital society, we live online as much as we live offline. The digital spaces we inhabit are governed by algorithms designed for maximum engagement. Now, make no mistake, we are not the customers. The time they get us to spend on their media platforms is what they sell to their actual customers, their advertisers. Every time Facebook, TikTok, Reels, and all of the others gets us to open a link, like a post, share a meme, fill out a fun questionnaire, spend time looking at shoes or face cream or suitcases, or the number of times we are willing to watch a 7-second ad in order to see the next episode of a tiny drama story. And at what point you turn that story off. What made you turn it off? It all gives the platforms information about us. That's what they sell to their customers. Wait. And they want that, the customers that want that information and are willing to pay big dollars. Anytime you doubt that, take a look at Mark Zuckerberg's financials. And what drives engagement the fastest? Shock, outrage, division, anger, and cruelty. We are constantly fed a diet of content that paints others not as flawed human beings, but as caricatures, threats, enemies, and we are labeled like vermin, garbage, filth, groomers. We are repeatedly tied to whole categories of people by those labels. You know that drill. We scroll through the comment sections filled with venom, where people say things to one another that they would never dare say face to face. And sadly, some who would. Over time, this constant exposure wears us down. It numbs us, and that changes us. It creates a psychological distance between us and the rest of humanity. When we view others through a screen, it's easy to forget that they are people with beating hearts, complicated histories, and private sorrows. It becomes easy to yell, "Hey, watch it, you blind fool," before we ever bother to see who's standing there and what's actually happening. This online meanness has bled directly into our physical reality. It's seeped into our workplaces, our schools, our neighborhoods, and our family dinner tables. it created a deeply destructive culture of contempt. Now, contempt is different from simple anger. Anger generally wants to resolve something. It says, you are important enough for me to have the hard conversations to discuss this with you. Contempt stands from superiority and disgust. It says, you are beneath me. You are worthless. You don't matter. You are not worth my time. When contempt becomes the default language of a society, the social fabric begins to fray. Trust vanishes. Isolation explodes. We stop seeing public spaces as common grounds to be shared and nurtured. Instead, we view them as battlegrounds where we have to defend ourselves against everybody else. No, we don't consciously think that, but over time, we've become trained, and it's so ingrained in us that it too often becomes our default response. The tragedy of our time is that this culture of meanness isn't just bubbling up from the bottom. It's being validated and modeled from the highest levels of our society. Historically, we've been able to look at our leaders, regardless of political party, to embody a certain level of manners, dignity, language, and civic virtue, at least in public. We expect them to appeal to our best selves when we disagree, even strongly, with their policies. We look to the highest offices of government as guardians of our shared norms. Today, however, the highest levels of our government and public life frequently look like an arena for cruelty, a blood sport. We watch leaders mock the vulnerable, use vile language about their opponents, and demean them with childish nicknames and AI-generated memes, and use language specifically designed to dehumanize whole groups of people by calling them with despicable labels. Bullying is praised as strength. Incivility is celebrated as authenticity. And too often, many of us have been desensitized to this by the constant repetition. They just shrug and excuse them by saying, they're just being themselves. The spiritual danger here cannot be overstated. When those who hold immense power and visibility practice contempt, it sends a powerful message downstream. It gives permission to the rest of society to follow suit, even if it's only done in incremental stages. It normalizes behavior that was once considered shocking and shameful. It tells the average citizen that if the most powerful people in the world can be cruel, crass, and vindictive, then it's okay. And they can do it too. It validates the impulse to scream at the stranger on the sidewalk. It justifies the venomous email sent to a colleague. It legitimizes the casual cruelty we inflict on one another in daily life. When leadership models a spiritual vacuum, that vacuum quickly expands to fill the entire culture. As a religious community, we must name this plainly. And let me be clear about this. This is not a partisan issue. This is not about politics. It is a moral, ethical, values-based, and spiritual issue. And those are the things that a church has a duty to talk about. Amen. When our public square becomes an echo chamber of degradation, it directly threatens the spiritual well-being of every person, the one doing it, the one receiving it, and everyone on the sidelines. It degrades our collective soul. Faced with this tidal wave of this culture of public incivility, what are we, as UUs, called to do? Well, we are called to be profoundly, stubbornly countercultural, something that UUs have quite a bit of history doing. Our faith tradition offers a powerful antidote to this empathy deficit. We are guided by core values that demand we view the world through a lens of deep connection and mutual responsibility. Our values aren't passive beliefs. They are active covenants. They require something of us in the way we move through the world, and that is not just reciting words by rote every Sunday. Let's look at our commitment to interdependence. This honors and strives to protect the interdependence of all existence. Now, that's pretty easy to affirm when we're sitting here in our sanctuary, surrounded by people who agree with us. It's easy to love humanity in the abstract, sort of like the Miss America contestants who all want world peace. But the true test of this happens in the messy, frustrating reality of the public square. Inherent worth means that a person's worth and dignity isn't earned. We are all born with it. We have it by simply existing. It can't be forfeited by their political opinions, their willful bad behavior, their ignorance, or their mistakes. The person who cuts you off in traffic and flips you the bird still has inherent worth. The politicians whose views make you sick to your stomach also has inherent worth. And the internet troll typing hateful comments has inherent worth. Now, let me be clear. Affirming inherent worth doesn't mean we tolerate injustice or accept hurtful behavior. There is no free pass. Believing in worth doesn't mean excusing harm. It means we can hate the bad actions without hating the human spirit of the person. It means when we fight passionately for what is right, we don't use the weapons of dehumanization against others. We don't wish for the destruction of the other person's humanity. We recognize that the moment we strip another person of their dignity, even in our own minds, we have stepped into the same spiritual vacuum we claim to despise. We are also guided by our deep understanding of interdependence, the reality that we're all held together in an inescapable network of mutuality. We are parts of a single web. When one part of the web is torn, the whole structure suffers. Now, we definitely understand this as it relates to the environment, climate change, the loss of endangered species. It's a bit harder when it comes to terrible people. But even with people, the empathy deficit is a denial of this interdependence. It's the false belief that I can diminish you without diminishing myself. When the man screamed at the blind stranger, he didn't just hurt that stranger. He wounded his own spirit. That's where his shame came from. Shame is the sudden, painful awareness that we've acted against our own deep knowledge of what's right and wrong. It's sort of the soul's early warning system, reminding us that we've broken the web. To choose a different path is to live with an active awareness of this web. It's to realize that our well-being is completely bound up with the well-being of the stranger standing next to us. True empathy is hard work. It's not cheap sentimentality. It's not simply feeling sorry for someone. It requires us to slow down. In my opening story, the man's hair-trigger verbal cruelty was born of speed and thoughtlessness. He was rushing and preoccupied. He was consumed by his own needs. When we're constantly hurrying and preoccupied, we lack the capacity needed for noticing. We miss the subtle signs of struggle in the people around us. Cultivating empathy means intentionally practicing a slower, more thoughtful way of living. It means taking a breath before we react. It means pausing long enough to look for the metaphorical white cane and dark glasses that we all carry in one way or another. The discipline must be practiced intentionally in our daily interactions. It's practiced when we don't snap at that exhausted fast food worker who made a simple mistake in our order. It's practiced when we choose not to let ourselves be baited and type that incredibly clever, sarcastic reply on social media. It's practiced when we listen deeply to a family member or friend whose politics we find baffling, maybe even disgusting. And we listen to hear the underlying human values and anxieties beneath their words. Even if we're never going to agree with them, we're sincerely trying to understand their reasons. I think it was Winston Churchill who said, "You're only as big as the smallest thing that makes you angry." Every time we choose empathy over crassness, we're staging a quiet revolution. In our own small way, we're denying the culture of contempt its power. We're refusing to let the brokenness of the world dictate the conditions of our own hearts. We won't let the crassness of the world turn us into monsters. When we refuse to accept meanness as normal, when we gently but firmly call for a higher standard of behavior from our local leaders, our school boards, our neighbors, our friends, and from ourselves, we begin to shift the baseline of what's acceptable. We create an environment where decency can grow again. Now let's return one last time to that crowded St. George Street in St. Augustine. Imagine the moment right after the shame washed over the man who stopped walking and caused the situation. In that split second, he has two choices. He can let his shame harden into defensiveness. He can turn around, walk away, and pretend it didn't even happen, burying the discomfort deep inside of himself and making his heart just a little bit harder. But what if he chose the path of courage? What if he says, "Oh, geez, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I acted like a complete jerk." The empathy deficit is broken for just a moment. And here, in this moment, the web of connection is mended. What if we find the courage within ourselves and within this community? What if we commit ourselves to the daily, radical practice of seeing one another fully? What if we reject the permission to be cruel, no matter how high the source it comes from? Let's rebuild our world, one interaction at a time, on our unshakable commitment of inherent worth and shared dignity, all on the foundation of love. I will close with a quote from John Pavlovitz. "At the end of this day, the world will either be a more or less kind, compassionate, and loving place because you are in it. Your move.
Thank you so much, Donna. That was amazing. May we carry that challenge with us to make the world a little more kind, compassionate, and loving because of our presence. And may we remember that we do that not alone, but together, one interaction at a time. I invite our song leaders to return and lead us in hymn number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me, found in the gray hymnal or on the screen. We will sing all 4 verses. Please rise in body or spirit. As our song comes to an end, may we carry its invitation with us, not simply to sing together, but to live together with greater courage, compassion, and care. I'd like to invite Cindy back up, please, to extinguish our chalice. What if the messages of rage and division don't get the final word? What if we step out of our bubbles and truly begin to pay attention? What if our ordinary, everyday empathy is exactly what heals the public square. We extinguish this flame, but we dare to keep its potential alive in our hearts, transforming possibility into existence. May it be so. Blessed be. Thank you for joining us today.